I don't even know where to begin. My hands are literally shaking as I type this. And if you told me last year that I'd be here, writing to strangers on the internet about my marriage unraveling, I'd have laughed. But here we are. I, 32F, have been married to my husband Mark, 35M, for almost 7 years. We live in a mid-sized city in Ohio. Nothing too glamorous, just a quiet suburban life. I work in marketing, he's in IT. We don't have kids yet, though it's been part of the plan soon. At least, that's what I thought. Mark has always been the steady one. Reliable, calm, sometimes even boring. He liked routines, the same breakfast every day, the same shows at night, the same friends since college. I used to joke that he was an old man trapped in a 30-year-old's body. And honestly, I loved that about him. After years of dating chaos, he felt safe. But 3 weeks ago, my safe world cracked open. It started with something small. His phone buzzing at odd hours. He usually left it on the counter or coffee table, no big deal, but suddenly it was glued to him. At first I thought, maybe it's work. He'd been dealing with a huge project at the office, so late-night calls weren't unusual. But then one night, around 11 p.m., he was in the kitchen and I saw the screen light up. The name was Claire Redheart. I froze. I don't know any Claire. None of our friends, co-workers, or family members are named Claire. And the heart? My stomach dropped. I didn't say anything right away. I wish I had. Instead, I spent the next week spiraling, watching him like a hawk. He started going out for errands more often, sometimes disappearing for 2 or 3 hours with vague excuses. When I asked, he'd brush me off. Traffic, long line at the store, ran into an old buddy. Finally, I snapped. One Saturday, he said he was going for a haircut. He left around noon. I waited, then followed. Yes, I turned into that person, the one you never think you'll be. I tailed my own husband. He didn't go to the barber. He drove downtown, parked near a coffee shop, and walked straight into an apartment building. I sat there in the car for an hour, heart pounding so loud I thought people outside could hear it. When he finally came out, he wasn't alone. A woman around our age, brunette, stylish, laughing at something he said. They looked so comfortable together. He hugged her, then kissed her. I swear my soul left my body. I drove home in a daze, and when he came back later pretending everything was normal, I thought I'd explode. But instead of confronting him, I froze. I kept thinking, maybe it's not what it looks like. How stupid, right? I convinced myself I needed proof. So the next few days I turned into a detective. I checked our bank statements, and sure enough, there were charges I didn't recognize. Dinners, hotels, even a jewelry store. Always in cash or small amounts, like he was trying not to raise suspicion. I finally confronted him last week. My voice was shaking as I asked, "Who is Claire?" He went pale, then angry, said I was invading his privacy, that I was paranoid. He denied it at first, but when I showed him the bank charges, the lies crumbled. And that's when he dropped the bomb. Claire isn't just some fling. She's his other life. He admitted he's been seeing her for nearly 2 years. 2 years. They met at a conference in Chicago. At first it was just physical, but then it turned into more. She doesn't know he's married. According to him, he told her he was separated but working things out. But it gets worse. He's not just cheating. He's financially supporting her, paying part of her rent, helping with bills, even bought her that necklace I saw on the statement. He said she struggled a lot, and he couldn't just abandon her. So basically, while we were budgeting for a house and trying to save for our future, my husband was funneling money to his girlfriend across town. I don't even know how I kept breathing while he told me. My body went numb. When I asked why he would do this, he started crying. Said he never meant for it to go this far. That he loves me, but also loves her in a different way. He actually had the audacity to say he compartmentalized us. I was stability, she was passion. I felt like vomiting. I kicked him out that night. He's staying with a friend, at least that's what he says. He's been texting nonstop, begging me to talk, saying he'll end things with her if I give him another chance. But here's the kicker. He hasn't actually ended it. I checked. Yes, I snooped again. They're still in contact. My friends are telling me to run, file for divorce immediately. My mom offered to let me stay with her until I figure things out. But a part of me is frozen. 7 years together. We built a whole life. And now it feels like it was a lie. I don't know if I'm mourning the marriage I thought I had, or if I'm just too scared to start over. But I do know one thing. I can't unsee that kiss. I can't unhear the words, "I love her too." I don't know where to go from here. I wasn't planning to update so soon, but things have gotten messy. Very, very messy. After my last post, I kicked Mark out and told him I needed space. He's been staying with his college buddy Ryan. At least, that's what he claims. At first, the silence was almost comforting. I felt like I could finally breathe. But then the messages started. It began with the usual, "I'm sorry. Please, let's talk." Then, "I'll end it with her, I swear." When I didn't respond, he escalated. Dozens of texts a day, voicemails at 2 a.m., even showing up outside my office once. My co-workers had to tell him to leave. It was humiliating. When I finally caved and agreed to meet him for coffee, he pulled the classic move, crocodile tears. He swore he couldn't live without me, that Claire meant nothing, and he just got caught up. But when I pressed him, "Why didn't you end it already, if she means nothing?" he got defensive, said I was interrogating him, that my mistrust was the real problem. I nearly choked. I caught him cheating, funding another woman's life for 2 years, and somehow this was about my trust issues. That was the start of what I now realize is full-blown gaslighting. He started rewriting history, telling me we'd been drifting apart for years, that I stopped caring about intimacy, and he had no choice but to look elsewhere, that I drove him to Claire. When I called BS, he changed tactics, became the victim, said he was mentally unstable, that he needed therapy, that I should stand by him as a wife, instead of abandoning him in his darkest moment. I almost fell for it. Almost. Because when you've built your life around someone, it's terrifying to imagine walking away. A part of me still clung to the man I thought I married, the steady, boring Mark who always ate the same breakfast. I kept asking myself, was that all a lie? Or did I somehow cause this? The breaking point came 2 nights ago. He showed up at the house unannounced, pounding on the door until I let him in. He was holding flowers, looking disheveled. He sat me down and said he'd cut Claire off, that he realized he couldn't risk losing his marriage. For a second, I felt hope. Stupid, fragile hope. Then his phone buzzed. And there it was. Claire Redheart. He panicked, fumbled to hide it, but it was too late. My blood ran cold. He hadn't cut her off. He hadn't even tried. When I confronted him, he flipped the script again, shouted that I was snooping, that I didn't respect his privacy, that no marriage can survive this level of mistrust. He stormed out like I was the one cheating. Since then, he's been sending long, guilt-tripping texts. "I made a mistake, but you're punishing me instead of helping me heal. You're throwing away 7 years over one lapse in judgment. Claire is nothing compared to what we have. Why can't you see that? If you divorce me, I'll lose everything. Do you want that on your conscience?" He's spinning this as if I'm the cruel one for not forgiving him instantly. I showed the texts to my best friend, and she flat out said, "He's manipulating you. He wants both of you, and he'll keep lying as long as it works." She's right, isn't she? He doesn't want to choose. He wants his comfortable wife and his exciting girlfriend. And the second I forgive him, he'll just bury it deeper and keep going. Last night, I finally texted him that I'm contacting a lawyer. He hasn't responded yet, but I know the storm is coming. The scary part? I'm still shaken. A tiny, broken part of me still wants to believe him when he says he loves me. That part is fighting with the logical side screaming, "Get out before he destroys you completely." I feel like I'm losing my grip on reality. Like he's twisted the narrative so much I can't tell what's true anymore. Was our marriage ever real? Or was it all just a mask he wore until the real Mark emerged? Reddit, I don't know how much longer I can stand this. I'm scared of what he'll do when he realizes I'm serious about divorce. But I also know I can't keep living like this. I honestly didn't think I'd be back this soon, but things have escalated faster than I could have imagined. If my last update was messy, this one is a full-blown disaster. After I told Mark I was contacting a lawyer, I expected anger. I expected begging. What I didn't expect was the smear campaign. Within 24 hours, I got texts from his mom, his sister, even 2 of his old college friends. All with the same tone. "Don't make a mistake you'll regret. Mark told us what's going on, and it's not what you think. Marriage is about forgiveness, not punishment." At first I thought, how could they know already? Then it hit me. Mark must have called them the second he left my house. And he didn't just tell them the truth. He told them his version. According to his mother, who left me a voicemail so long I had to split it into 2 parts, I am cold-hearted and controlling. Apparently, I've been withholding affection for years, and poor Mark just slipped up because he was lonely. She actually had the audacity to say, "If you don't forgive him, you'll be the reason this marriage fails, not him." I nearly threw my phone at the wall. The worst part? Some people believed him. His sister sent me a text saying, "He made a mistake, but you're blowing it out of proportion." Nobody's perfect. Blowing it out of proportion? 2 years of lies, financial betrayal, and a full-on girlfriend down the street, and I'm overreacting. It's like I'm living in a twisted parallel universe where reality doesn't matter. Thank God for my own support system. My mom, my best friend, and even a couple of mutual friends who flat out told me, "We know, Mark, this is classic manipulation." Without them, I think I'd lose my mind. Meanwhile, I did meet with a lawyer, and that's when another bomb dropped. We pulled financial records, and guess what? The bank charges I found were just the tip of the iceberg. There are transfers, thousands of dollars, sent to an account under Claire's name. Rent, utilities, even a freaking car payment. He's been essentially funding her lifestyle while telling me we couldn't afford vacations or upgrading our own car. The lawyer asked me bluntly, "Do you want to pursue spousal support? Because you've got grounds." Hearing it in legal terms made it feel so real. Like this wasn't just a nightmare I could wake up from. It's my actual life. When I told Mark about the lawyer, he lost it. Showed up at my mom's house, where I've been staying, and started pounding on the door, yelling that I was ruining his life. My mom called the police. By the time they arrived, he was gone, but now there's an incident report on file. Afterward, he texted me something that chilled me. "If you destroy me, I'll take you down with me. Don't test me." That was the moment the fear set in. Up until then, I'd been angry, hurt, betrayed. But that message, that felt like a threat. Like he wasn't just going to fight for himself. He was going to try to drag me under too. The lawyer told me to save every text, every voicemail, every bank statement, to build a case. She also suggested I consider a restraining order if his behavior escalates. I feel like my whole life is on trial, and he's the one writing the script. To his family, I'm the villain. To his friends, I'm the cold wife. To him, I'm both the jailer and the executioner. And through it all, he's still talking to Claire. Yes, I checked. Her Instagram is still full of cryptic quotes about true love and soulmates against the world. Part of me wants to scream the truth at everyone. To show his mother the receipts, the bank transfers, the kiss outside that apartment. To send his sister the voicemails he leaves at 3 a.m. To expose him for the liar he is. But the lawyer says, stay quiet. Gather evidence. Let the truth speak in court. So here I am, stuck in limbo. Half my heart still aching for the man I thought I married. The other half burning with rage at the manipulative stranger he turned out to be. I don't know how this ends. But I do know this. I can't go back. Not after all this. The next steps are legal. The next steps are survival. Wish me luck, Reddit. I think I'll need it. It's official now. I filed for divorce. Yesterday morning, I signed the paperwork with my lawyer sitting across from me. My hands were trembling so badly I could barely hold the pen, but when I slid that stack of documents back across the table, a strange calm washed over me. Like I'd finally taken control of my own story after weeks of chaos. But of course, Mark didn't take it well. Within hours, he started flooding me with messages, rage, desperation, bargaining, all in the span of a single afternoon. First it was, "You'll regret this. I'll never forgive you." Then, "Please, don't do this. We can fix it." Then back to, "If you think you're getting a dime, you're delusional." It's like watching someone unravel in real time. And he's not stopping at me. His family has doubled down. His mother called my mom, screaming that I was tearing her family apart. His sister posted some vague Facebook status about betrayal and women who destroy men's lives. Mutual friends are split right down the middle, half supporting me, half telling me to be the bigger person. The smear campaign is exhausting. But here's the thing. The lawyer warned me this would happen. She said narcissistic partners often try to control the narrative when they feel it slipping. "He'll make you the villain," she told me. "Don't play his game. Focus on the facts." So that's what I'm doing. The financial records we pulled are damning. Not only was Mark funneling money to Claire, but he also drained part of our joint savings into a business account that doesn't exist. It looks like he was hiding assets, maybe to set himself up if things went south. My lawyer says that could work heavily in my favor. When Mark realized I had the records, he panicked. He sent me a text that made my stomach turn. "If you drag our finances into this, I'll tell everyone about your issues. Don't forget who knows your secrets." That's when the fear hit me again. Because yes, I've had my struggles. Anxiety, therapy, even a short period years ago when I was on antidepressants after losing my dad. I never hid that from him. But the idea that he'd weaponize my pain against me, it's cruel beyond words. I showed the text to my lawyer. She said it borders on harassment and intimidation, and again recommended considering a restraining order. Meanwhile, I can't shake the paranoia. Every time my phone buzzes, I jump. Every knock at the door makes my heart race. What if he shows up again? What if he tries something worse? And yet, through all this, he's still seeing Claire. I know because she posted a photo of a bracelet last night, one I recognize from a recent charge on our account. The caption? "True love always wins." It's surreal. He's waging war against me while still whining and dining his girlfriend, like he can live in both worlds forever. I keep telling myself this is temporary, that once the divorce is finalized, I'll be free. But the road between here and there feels endless. The small victories keep me going. Filing the paperwork, seeing my lawyer's confidence, knowing I'm taking steps to protect myself, my mom's support, my best friend showing up with takeout and wine after every ugly confrontation. But still, I lie awake at night wondering, how did I get here? How did the man I trusted most become my enemy? I don't know how ugly this will get before it's over. But I know one thing, I'm not backing down. Not this time. This will probably be my biggest update yet, because so much has happened in the last 2 weeks that I don't even know how to fit it all into one post. But here goes. We had our first court hearing. I was terrified walking into that courthouse, hands clammy, heart racing, half convinced Mark would somehow twist everything to make me look like the villain. He always had a way of spinning stories. I kept imagining the judge shaking their head at me, buying into his narrative. But what actually happened? For the first time in months, the truth finally had a voice. Mark showed up with a new suit, his mom in tow, looking like a wounded soldier. He barely glanced at me. His lawyer, yes, he got one, painted a picture of a troubled marriage where I was cold and neglectful, driving him into the arms of a friend who supported him. They framed Claire as some innocent bystander who just happened to be there when his wife emotionally abandoned him. I wanted to scream, but then my lawyer calmly slid a folder across the table. Inside, bank records, transfer receipts, screenshots of texts, voicemails, every ugly breadcrumb of the double life he thought he could hide. The judge's face was unreadable, but I saw Mark pale when the words financial misconduct came up. Because it wasn't just cheating anymore. It was dissipation of marital assets. He wasn't just unfaithful. He was actively stealing from our future to fund his fantasy. His lawyer tried to object, to downplay the money. But then my lawyer hit them with the car payment, the rent transfers, the bracelet. It was undeniable. And the cherry on top? The police incident report from the night he showed up at my mom's house, pounding on the door like a madman. It painted a very different picture than the lonely victim he was trying to sell. For the first time, I saw the mask slip. He wasn't smug, or confident, or even angry. He just crumbled. His mom glared at me the whole time, whispering furiously to him, but he couldn't meet my eyes. The judge didn't make any final rulings that day, but they granted temporary financial protections for me, meaning he can't move or hide money without disclosure. And they ordered him to cease direct contact outside of legal channels. When we walked out, I expected him to explode. But he didn't. He just looked hollow, like the walls were closing in and he didn't know where to run. Of course, that didn't stop the smear campaign. The night after court, his sister posted on Facebook, "People forget that cheaters aren't always men." Subtle, right? And his mom left me a voicemail so venomous I had to delete it halfway through. But you know what? It doesn't matter anymore. Because for once, their words don't touch me. The facts are louder. The evidence is louder. And the law is louder. Claire, by the way, still in the picture. She posted some dramatic quote about storms proving the strength of love. I don't know if she realizes yet that she's not just the other woman. She's Exhibit A. Maybe someday she'll see him for what he is. But honestly, she's not my problem anymore. Here's what I've realized. I spent months questioning myself, drowning in his lies, letting him convince me I was crazy, unloving, even cruel. But standing in that courtroom, Watching his narrative collapse under the weight of cold, hard evidence, it was like reclaiming my sanity. I'm not crazy. I'm not cruel. I'm not the villain in his story. I'm just done. The divorce isn't final yet, but for the first time, I believe it will be. And when it is, I'll walk away knowing I fought for myself, for my truth, my future, my peace. Mark wanted both worlds. In the end, he's losing both. This will be my last update. It's over. The divorce is finalized. When the judge signed the papers, I thought I'd cry, but instead I just exhaled, like I'd been holding my breath for years and didn't even realize it. The chapter is closed, and for the first time in forever, I feel like I can breathe. The settlement wasn't perfect, is it ever? But it was fair. The court acknowledged the financial misconduct, those transfers to Claire, the hidden business account, the car payments. Because of that, Mark was ordered to reimburse part of what he spent. I didn't get everything back, but enough to start fresh without drowning in debt. As for spousal support, I chose not to pursue it in the end. My lawyer said I could have gotten it, but honestly, I don't want to be tethered to him financially for one more day than necessary. I want clean air, clean hands, and a clean break. Mark's mask is fully off now. His mom still calls me the cold wife who destroyed her son, but even some of his friends have stopped buying the act. Word spread about the evidence in court, and it's hard to paint yourself as the victim when the receipts say otherwise. Claire? Still in the picture, as far as I know. She and Mark moved in together after the court ordered him out of our house. But here's the kicker. Not long after, someone sent me a screenshot of her venting on Instagram about men who lie about money. Looks like she might be learning the same lesson I did, just a little later. I'll admit it, I laughed. I don't wish them well, but I also don't wish them harm. I just don't care anymore. They're not my problem. The real healing has been quieter, more personal. Dinner with my mom without tears. Movie nights with my best friend where we actually laugh again. Walking into my own apartment. Yes, my apartment. And knowing every single thing inside it is mine, untouched by betrayal. I've started journaling. Running again. Even thinking about going back to school part-time. Little pieces of myself that I lost in the fog of manipulation are starting to resurface. People keep asking me if I'll ever trust again. The truth? I don't know. But I do know this. I'll never ignore my instincts again. I'll never let someone convince me that up is down, right is wrong, love is control. Because if there's one thing this whole nightmare taught me, it's that peace is priceless. Mark once told me that if I left him, I'd regret it forever. That I'd never make it on my own. Standing here now, free, breathing, whole, I can tell you he was wrong. I regret staying as long as I did. I regret silencing myself to keep the peace. But leaving? Fighting back? Choosing me? Best decision I ever made. Thank you, Reddit, for being my sanity when everything around me felt insane. For reminding me I wasn't crazy, I wasn't alone, and I wasn't wrong to fight for myself. This will be my final update. My story is no longer about him. It's about me. And I'm finally ready to start writing the next chapter.